The book I read was called World of Warcraft: The Shattering. It details all the events that happened before Cataclysm. Cataclysm is when Deathwing tried to take over the world with the power of the old gods, many which are related to, I can't remember, something with Cthulhu. Anyways, the book's prologue starts out with Drek Gothar, Thrall's tutor. Thrall is currently the leader of the Horde, beginning to see the Maelstrom, which isn't known. The person taking his caregiver basically thinks that it's just he's an old man. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But little as you know, something is actually wrong. The book's Horde side starts out with Cain Bloodhoof, I don't know how to say his name properly, taking a ship to the Barren Tundra, where he wants to assist Garrosh and his army with defending against the Scourge created by the Lich King, who is dead by this time in WoW history. While although there is a current Lich King, he is frozen to prevent anything bad from happening to the world. As they prepare, the Scourge ends up showing up and actually fighting them. The Horde runs away scared, but Cain gets captured by a Scourge, which he kills no problem, and realizes that they're just normal humans, just undead. They can still die. They end up getting held in some house with the whole army trying to hold up a barrier, as he tells all the orcs and whoever else is there that they're all normal things, they can still die no problem, which inspires all of the army to go out fight against the Scourge so that they don't lose the Barrens. They end up fighting the Scourge back and repelling their entire attack, being able to capture one of their ships. Cain sustains pretty critical injuries, but he does live through all this. As they're on their way back to Orgrimmar, which is the main city of the orcs and trolls, they end up getting caught in a really bad storm, which Garrosh tries to stay aboard and help, but the captain doesn't want him to, and Cain knows this. So he attempts to stop Garrosh by holding him down, but that doesn't work, and they all just get caught. Both him and Garrosh get caught in the storm on the deck. They end up living through the storm, but the ship is in really bad shape, and they lost a lot of their rations and other supplies. They end up encountering an alliance ship, which Garrosh knows that it's in their waters, which is against their treaty with Stormwind, the main capital of the alliance. Him and his army board the ship against Cain's will and kill all on board except for the captain, demanding him as a prisoner of war and trying to figure out why they're in his waters. The captain said that they got caught in a twisted storm and ended up here trying to survive it. Garrosh does not care, decides to send him out on a boat with a few rations back to Stormwind to tell what has happened. As they make it back to Orgrimmar, they end up encountering everyone there who throw a big parade for them. They end up seeing Thrall, the leader of, or the war chief of the Horde, who congratulates them, gives Garrosh the Gorehow, which was used by his father, Grommash Hellscream, who became corrupted by a evil, Fellblood. He drank Fellblood and became corrupted along with his army. That's why some orcs are green and others are brown. Grommash is green, while his son, Garrosh, who wasn't corrupted, is brown-skinned. After this, they end up going to a bar, and Thrall says, "Go crazy, everything's on me, destroy whatever you want, buy whatever you want, all food and destruction's on me, I'll pay for everything," of which orcs do what they do and went crazy, while Cain just decided to watch. He didn't really want to join because he's a Tauren, which is like a cow person, and his race is very friendly and very tranquil. Cain ends up talking to Thrall about them communicating with Night Elves, which is against all of the Horde's treaties. The Night Elves are allied with the Alliance, which is the Horde's enemy. Both Thrall and Cain get very mad, and Cain ends up leaving early. Cain ended up returning to his village where he saw his son, Bane, and Bane asked him what happened. Cain just told him orcs are orcs, and that's it. Now, recording some of the in-game footage for these characters was very hard because characters like Bane and Garrosh are actually dead in the lore, and it was very difficult to find Thrall. So what I did is recorded some of it in Hearthstone, which is World of Warcraft's card game, and some of it is in World of Warcraft. I had to make a new character for the Horde because I didn't have any Horde characters because I like the Alliance a lot better. I don't know why, but I do. Although I was able to find Thrall while playing as an Alliance character because Thrall's a orc and I was playing as an Alliance character, my Death Knight, who is a night elf. I ended up finding him while doing the Cataclysm DLC by complete accident. I didn't mean to, I just leveled up and noticed it there. I also found footage of the Maelstrom, which is the main reason of Cataclysm. It showed that the old gods had awoken and something was very wrong with the earth and nature, as Thrall says. Moving to the Alliance side, which was a lot easier to record because as I decided to do this, I ended up getting my character from Wrath of the Lich King, which took place right before Cataclysm, to the Cataclysm stuff, and that was very lucky. The Alliance side starts out through Jaina Proudmoore visiting the Alliance castle and ends up catching everyone by surprise because no one expected her to show up. Everyone seems to be a bit sympathetic towards Jaina because she did have a relationship with the Lich King, Arthas, and Archbishop ends up giving a speech about how humans, dwarves, night elves, gnomes, Draenei, and even Horde members were affected by all this, and each candle they're holding represents a soul that was lost to the Lich King. Some of the important characters that attended this service were Varian Wrynn, the current king of the Alliance, and his son Anduin Wrynn, who is a priest, along with Jaina, of course. Before I continue, I just want to tell you how annoying it was to get footage of Varian Wrynn, because he is dead right now in World of Warcraft. He was killed in Legion by a Felguard when Lady Sylvanas, who is the leader of the Forsaken, teamed up with him. The Horde and Alliance decided to team up against the Legion, because their huge army was a big problem to all of Azeroth, which is the planet they live on. And Varian decided to sacrifice himself for all the Alliance members and drop down and try to fight all of the Felguards. He did pretty well, but they ended up getting overrun by a random Felguard. Not really important character killed them, but just random Felguard. Anduin was a little bit easier because I ended up running into him while doing the Mist of Pandaria, which takes place way after. That's why you see no panda zombies. Pandarians weren't known for a long time. I ended up running into Anduin, just doing that. Found some footage of him. And Jaina I didn't know where to look her. I didn't want to look her up, so I just went into Hearthstone and recorded a bit of me playing her. There you go. I'm lazy, I'm sorry. Something I never compared this book to would be like the Warcraft movie. That was actually based off of it, but the actor decided to go the director decided to go a completely different route. Instead of making the Horde seem like such bad people, they ended up just making them seem okay and actually good, fighting for their own cause. Something besides that I would compare it to would be anything with a rich backstory, like any other MMO, anything that took a lot of time and thinking and still going today, very strong. I can't think of anything, but if you can think of anything with a really good backstory that you don't know unless you read or pay very close attention to what's going on, then that's something good to compare this to. I guess like the Elder Scrolls series would be something you could compare it to, that has a lot of games and a lot of story, a lot of secrets that you can find that will tell the story of what happened in the past, what might happen, stuff like that. What I really liked about this book is that it tells the story of one of my favorite games ever, World of Warcraft. I have no life. I have a lot of time sunk into it, and I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone unless someone likes reading up on everything. If you play World of Warcraft, you won't really understand what's happening unless you pay very close attention to what's going on in game or read up on stuff you find. One confusing part you won't really get unless you read the backstory is during the troll starting zone. You'll end up trying to fight this Naga, who, along with Vol'jin, who is the leader of all the trolls. You end up fighting the Naga, and you don't know who the Naga is and what really happened, but what ended up happening is the Naga killed Vol'jin's father, and Vol'jin wants revenge, so you help him kill it in a raid-style fight. And yeah, that seemed like a really good thing. I didn't know that. I didn't get the first starting zone when I started filming this. I didn't get what was going on. I ended up watching a video later on about important characters you don't notice, which had that Naga on it. Can't remember her name right now. Don't really want to look it up. It was a leader of the Nagas, I think. One of the events in the book that is important that you don't know is when Bane tells Thrall about the Taurens, something like that, and the Night Elves working together in order to worship some god. You don't know what the Night Elves are. You don't know what they look like, who their leader is, Malfurion, what their main classes are, like druids, mages. They have a lot of magic stuff. This book takes a lot to read. If you don't know what World of Warcraft is, you won't get anything happening in this book. You won't know any of the characters. You won't know any of the backstory. You don't really know what's happening. You don't know what a Doomhammer is. You don't know what Ogremar is. You don't know what's a character? Dekthar. I didn't know who Dekthar was because he doesn't really appear in game. I had to look it up as I was recording all this dialogue. Some more stuff about the recording. I don't have a good computer. I call it my potato computer, and it's very hard to record, which you might notice that some of the footage is very laggy. I ended up finding later on that I was recording with the wrong thing on in my OBS, changed it, and now it's recording a lot better. Another thing is that I got lazy and didn't want to go look for characters in the actual World of Warcraft game. I ended up using its card game Hearthstone, which I'm kind of good at. Don't judge. Also, I'm not very good at my shortcut video editor. I threw my mouse multiple times because it didn't want to do something I wanted to do, or decided to crash midway through a project. I ended up having to go back, recover, or just restart completely. Luckily though, still had all the footage. I was still fine. I could just go back. Some of the backgrounds I use of the city is Ogremar, which is where the main Horde capital, where all the orcs and stuff meet. All the beginning races, at least. So yeah, that was a book I read. World of Warcraft, The Shattering, the prelude to Cataclysm. I thought it was pretty good. It added more to the story. Some of it I didn't know. Most of it I did know. Because, well, I have no life and don't ask the games I play. I was playing Hoonie Pop earlier. If you don't know what that is, good. I almost forgot. The author's name is Christy Golden. She's written other books for Blizzard games like StarCraft. That's actually all I know because I did read one. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This is my first time recording. I record on a snowball microphone and my potato computer. Hopefully this goes well. Probably not. Nah, well, who cares?